Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of What Anna Said podcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm here with Sally and Kim, as always. We do not have my niece Sienna, who has been joining us on the last several episodes that we've had. She's not here with
That
us.
is right. That is true.
She's not here with us this morning because she is sound asleep at home. So,
Hopefully.
yes. So, Sally didn't want to disturb her. So she's fast asleep. So we're trying to get this episode done before she's going to wake up and call her mama to come right back. So if you're following along with us, maybe you're on your morning drive to work, maybe you're listening to us at home, grab a snack, grab a drink, and join us as we dive into the birth stories of our children, our birth plan, and just everything that has to do with that. I know for myself, being the first one out of us to have children. I actually have 4 kids, and they were all C-sections. That was not a part of the birth plan that I had in mind. I did want to have them all naturally, but that was just not in the cards for me. With my oldest, I did have an emergency C-section, and then from there, all my pregnancies just had to be delivered that way as a C-section. But before I dive more into my story, I'm going to go ahead and kick this off to Sally and just give us a little bit about because if for those of you that don't know, Sally has had every single kind of birth delivery.
Yes.
She's had the natural. Well, she hasn't had C-section, but she's had the natural, and she also had
A home birth.
the home birth. Exactly. She's also had home births. So I'm going to go ahead and let her dive into that because I'm sure that many of you have a lot of questions about her birth story that she shared with you on this channel. So go ahead, Sally.
Yes. So I have 5 kids total. The first 3 were in the hospital, completely unmedicated. So no epidural, no oxygen mask. They normally give that to you to help. Not the oxygen, but the.
I was like, was it a science experiment? But
No, it's like laughing gas or something to
yes,
help.
yes. I'm kidding.
And
Yes.
then the last 2 were planned home births. So it was an amazing experience for all 5. I know that the reason why I love birth and why I am so why I can always talk about birth and babies so easily is because of walking through your experience
Yes.
and Kim's experience in the hospital. So, I mean, there's nothing bad with having hospital births. It's all about how you advocate for yourself and making sure that your concerns are, heard.
Well, thank you so much, Sissy. I know that for me, with my pregnancies, especially after my first one, you were just so vocal about things that I should know about, things that maybe my team didn't share with me. Just what we can say no to and what we can ask for. I know that for myself, with that being my first pregnancy, I didn't know that I could ask, is there another option that's available to me? Or if I did not want a C-section with the rest of my kids, what is the steps or what is the plan that I can take, to try
Right.
to have a natural birth after that? So
Right.
you were.
Yes. So like one of the concerns that you had, there was something that you shared and it was a concern to me, and it was about exercise. So I definitely have seen how much exercise can improve the outcome of your births. There are going to be other complications as well. It's definitely good to listen to your doctor, but I know you had mentioned that exercise wasn't really something that came up when you spoke to your doctor or your OB. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. For myself, I think it also comes down to preference because there's a big difference between myself and my sisters when it comes to care.
Yes.
I am the type of person that my doctor needs to come in. We don't need to talk about our week. We don't need to be friends. Just tell me I'm good, send me on my way. And I remember my sisters looking at me like, what? Why are you not having more conversations with your doctor about your health? Why are you not
Right.
talking about,
What you want,
right,
right,
your
for that
concerns?
birth.
Right, exactly. So,
But you were young, so I mean,
I
that's not
was.
to fault you for.
Well, yeah, she's young, but
you know, that's just Anna. She doesn't like to put herself out there. So she's
Which is
definitely.
crazy because I know a lot of people, you know, Anna, whether it's in the workplace or maybe in
Or
a different
working out.
setting. And she's very, you know, personable, but she's not that.
She's
She's
definitely.
putting on a front just to let you
Yes.
guys
She wants to
know.
be in the back. Like nobody sees her. So so anyway, that you guys disregard everything you just heard. But they are completely what my sister's saying is so true. I just with my pregnancies, you know, I didn't really ask questions, and that's something that I encourage you to do. Especially, I mean, it's a big responsibility. Your body is creating a human, and you need to be able to be healthy for that human. You need to know what you need in order to create and in order to have the energy to continue making this little baby the whole 9 months. And so I encourage you, don't be like me, ask questions. And if you have a sister like I do, okay, my sister is really great. Let me tell you, this woman just all she does is read books on topics on any topic. Sally will read every single book on pregnancies, watch every lecture, look into the research and data. This woman is, I mean, when she gives advice on birth and things like that, even for me, and I'm not having any babies anymore. I'm done with the babies, but every time she says anything about pregnancies or birth or just advocating for women in emergency situations in the hospital, she's really great.
Kim, would you like to share a little bit about your birth experiences?
Yes, thank you, Sally. So as Sally said earlier about being very adamant and asking those questions that are needed to be asked, I would say for especially my pregnancy with my daughter, my oldest, I did not ask those questions. I went into that birth, and originally I was supposed to give birth naturally, and then the doctor ended up telling me that because of the complications I had that led me to go to the hospital that day, that it was best to do a C-section. And I remember the nurse was telling me, the nurse encouraged me and believed that I could give birth naturally and that, you know, that the doctor was just kind of saying that. But I remember at that time, Sally was very adamant and pushing me. She was questioning, like, I don't know, maybe you should, you know, push to try to have it naturally. And I really wanted to have it naturally, but I was really scared at that time as well. I think I was 19 at that time. I'm not sure,
I
but
think so.
at that time, yeah. So I just decided to do a C-section, and then my daughter after that was planned to be a C-section because they're just a year apart. But she came so fast that she ended up coming naturally, and I was not prepared for that. So I literally almost died, guys. I lost so much blood, and I did not know to
Push.
how to push or anything of that nature
Right. Because you
because I
weren't
went,
planning for
yeah,
that natural
I
birth.
went into that birth already knowing that natural birth was not an option for me because I didn't have more than a year for my C-section scar to heal. But then she came naturally, and that
Yeah, that
was a
was a fast
pretty,
birth.
yeah, that was a pretty traumatic experience. I think my
Yes.
water broke, and then she came out within 30 minutes of that. So
Mhm.
the water broke at home, rushed to the hospital, and then there she was. So
Yeah, but can you
yes.
see that you were able to handle that? Because you went to, I mean, not postpartum wise, because you said you were bleeding, but I mean, you labored at home until your water broke. Then you went to the hospital and had her. So I'm sure if you were prepared to birth, if you were
Hmm.
prepared with the right resources,
Yes.
information to get you ready for that, you would have
Yes.
probably had less complications. But
Yes.
at the same time, that was a right after a C-section,
Yes,
a year,
definitely.
like not
Thank you,
even.
Sally. Yeah, if I know for sure if I was better prepared and did all my research, like my sister Sally with her home births and how to breathe, how to ride the pain and the emotion of the contractions that come, I definitely would have handled it better. But because I was not prepared and it happened so fast,
So
it
fast.
was a very traumatic experience for me. So
I bet. I
yeah,
bet. I remember you writing in our family messenger group saying you're headed to the hospital
yes.
and she was going to be here. It was just way too fast. I couldn't even get there in time.
Yes, because I remember I was telling my sister Sally, I told her I was like, I think I'm getting
like, I think I'm
In
going into
labor?
labor.
Yeah.
She was like, time it. And sure enough, they were like 5 minutes apart. And next thing I knew, my water broke and I was off to the hospital. So
That is amazing. Speaking of you being able to handle those contractions at home until your water broke, I know that Thanksgiving is coming up.
yes.
And isn't there something that you'll be sharing this Thanksgiving? If you want to whisper it into the mic,
Yes,
in case we have little
something
ears.
very important that I'll be sharing this Thanksgiving is that we are expecting our 5th baby. So we're very excited. We cannot wait to tell the kids. By the time this is released, everyone will know by then. So
That's
the
so
kids,
exciting.
yes, the kids have been asking for a long time, so they'll be so excited. This is our last one though, so
I'm so excited.
So we're
we're
just
so
in-
excited.
yeah, we're just enjoying this pregnancy, and because it'll be our last one. So
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you,
We
Anna.
are so excited for you. And just every time my sister or anytime one of us is pregnant, it's just so exciting. It's such a
it is.
special.
It's another one.
It's not only a
Another
blessing.
one.
Another one.
Another one. It's not only special for them, but it's a blessing for our entire family.
Yes.
It really is.
And I am even more excited because this time I'm not pregnant.
Sally's pregnant every year.
Yes. I think it's been 5 years since Kim has
Yes.
Yeah,
been
it's
pregnant
her
with
turn
me.
now.
So it's Kim's turn.
Definitely.
And I cannot wait to support her in this pregnancy and labor and delivery. I am just over the moon excited. So I hope some of that excitement is going to rub off onto her to know that she's empowered.
Yes.
Okay.
I think that the most beautiful thing is that whenever you have siblings, and just like Kim going through her pregnancy, we get to go through that with her. Obviously, not the pain and morning sickness. We get to go through the fun stuff with her.
Yes.
We get to go through the cravings and all of that. So we're just so excited for this baby to come.
Yes, the cravings, that is the best part, I would say, for any pregnancy. If you have ever been pregnant, you know when you eat what you are craving, it's just
10 out of 10.
It's just something different than eating something you're craving when you're not pregnant. You're just the happiest.
It's an experience.
Yes, the happiest pregnant person in the world.
Mhm.
So, but as Anna and Sally were saying, definitely with this last one, I am hoping to do some more education, like with Sally, and learning more about birthing naturally. So I'm
Because
hoping
those things are so important.
Yes,
I mean, even the breathing techniques that you're taught.
exactly, because
It's
I didn't
so
know.
important.
I didn't know that that was a thing. The actual breathing techniques.
Yes.
And
to your pelvic
yes,
floor. It has connection to your pelvic floor.
and I
The way you
think
breathe, like the tightness in your face, like you want to keep your face relaxed.
yes,
All those things,
Mhm.
play a part
Yeah.
in your labor experience.
yeah, because all those things I did not do when I gave birth to Anna.
To your second.
Yes, to my second daughter, because everything was exact the opposite, and I think that's why I almost died too and lost so much blood, and my face, like all my blood vessels, everything, my eye, they popped. Yeah, so I looked pretty
Okay, moving away from that
scary.
traumatic imagery that you just gave us, let's go ahead and dive right back into Sally's story. I know that if you have tuned into her channel, you've already seen some of the story and the experiences that Sally has had with the birth experience at home, and especially for us coming from an island, and that is just out of anything that we would even think of an option. Even for myself, with being there for my sister's home births, that's an out of body experience for me myself, because we're not in the natural set, we're not in a setting, in the hospital setting. We don't have staff all around us, just in case something happens. So this is a real,
We are the staff.
we are
Part of the staff.
right. This is a real thing. I mean, seeing my sister just being so confident in everything that she's learned, and
Yes.
and just believing that this was the best
Yes.
birth plan for her, and the way that she wanted to bring her kids into the world was such an amazing experience for us being
It
in
really
the room.
was.
And so, how did you even think of having a birth at home? How did you go about finding a midwife, and what was the research that went into that?
Honestly, I have no idea how that came about, because when I was pregnant with our first Samson, I wanted to have a home birth already.
Wow,
And
really?
yes, so I don't even now. That's a great question because I'm.
So you've been thinking of this
Yes,
to
I
be a
have.
mermaid birth ever since
I
the beginning.
Not a mermaid birth. I mean, not just a water birth, but being able to birth outside of the hospital setting. I want to say maybe it has to do with, our grandmother, birthing grandmama when she
Yeah.
birthed, at home or wherever she was. Like
Mhm.
they didn't just go to the hospital. And
True.
so I think that was one of the reasons why it's always been in my mind. Like, I want to experience that. I want to know what these women went through.
What a little weirdo you are.
I know. I wanted to, go through that and also honor them in those births too.
yes.
So this is all for
It's amazing.
our ancestors.
Yeah.
Something that just, I mean, a real display of strength is a woman giving birth. I mean, for myself, getting to experience that, it's just a once in a lifetime kind of experience. Just seeing my sister listen to her body, listen to the signs that her body's telling her, and just letting her know the baby's coming, the baby's on their way, and just seeing her really bear down and grip with that pain.
That is the most weirdest thing when the baby's about to come and you're like, the baby's coming.
Right.
And you're like looking around the room, you're like, did you guys even know the baby's about to be here?
Right.
Because in the hospital setting, they're like checking.
Yeah, they're telling you when the
dilation.
baby's coming.
Yes. Like, okay, it's time to have the baby. Yes. But instead, it's me listening to my body and allowing my body to move that baby out, which is the coolest thing, not having to be told to push or when to push.
I think one of the things too that led your decision into this birth was because this was during the time that COVID was happening, and there was a lot of restrictions with family members coming into the birth, even down to your own husband, even maybe not being able to be there in the room with you.
Yes, and that's what really triggered it for me, because for me, I have to have, no matter what, I have to have my husband there. He provides so much support, and it's not even him doing anything other than
Definitely not.
just holding my hand or like words of affirmation, like that does it for me. So for me, having to imagine what if, figuring out the what ifs of, okay, what if something happens and they don't allow him back there, I'm gonna lose it. And
extra stress on top of already what you're
Mhm.
going through.
And that stress is just gonna will me into some type of complication. So
when you made up your mind and knew that you were going to have a home birth, what are the steps that you took to prepare for that? I mean, even looking up your midwife, even trying to find out if the insurance that you have covers that. What was everything that went into deciding all of that?
definitely prayer was the first thing.
Amen.
I had to pray and ask that the Lord will show me the way, lead me, find me a midwife that was going to have my same beliefs and be able to support me. So not only prayer, but I also had to talk to my husband about it, because it's not just, it is my decision, but we are one, to become one when you're married, so we are one unit, and I wanted to make sure that we're both on board, because if we're going to do this, I need to have my husband's support 100%. So that was another deciding factor. But with finding a midwife, I had reached out on Instagram and asked all my followers.
I mean, I love this day and age, they can say social media, it can be toxic, but when you use it in ways like this, I mean, how convenient is that you can just send a DM on Instagram and find the woman that will birth your children? That's amazing.
Yeah, so I had reached out on Instagram asking, my followers, hey, do you know someone, or do you know someone who's used someone? But no one had anything available. There was one person that recommended someone, but she lived way farther out. So I went to Google, and I've used Google before. I did find a midwife and asked her some questions, but I still did not have peace about that particular person. And then next thing you know, I found Danielle on like my second search. Like I had left it alone, and then I went back to search again, and then there she was.
I love that.
And I loved everything that she shared on her website, and called her. I still didn't make the decision then, because I still had to get my husband on board. So it's definitely, I can go on and on about how we made that decision.
That's so wonderful that you found Danielle. And I believe that God placed her there for a reason, because Danielle is just such a wonderful.
She really is.
I mean, and she just brings peace to the
Yes.
situation.
She's a prayer
And
warrior.
she's a prayer warrior.
Yes.
She speaks life
Mhm.
during the entire experience. And God is really using her in these beautiful ways to bring about these beautiful blessings. So
And it's really cool when you have a midwife and you go to those appointments. They're very different from, your typical OBGYN appointment because we're able to really get to know each other. And that also goes into how she's able to support me when I have the baby.
Right.
But there's one moment where we're listening to the heartbeat for Daniel. And, normally in an OBGYN office, you just check the heartbeat. Done.
You're done.
But you're done. Yes, but they were checking the heartbeat, and then she would talk to him, and as she talked to him, his heartbeat would speed speed up, and it was just the coolest thing to hear him become so happy.
Respond to
Yes.
him.
And so he's responding. So that's like a cool thing to really, because you read that and you know that, but to actually experience it was something so different. I cried. I was like, I'm so sorry. I'm so emotional. Yes. It's such a beautiful thing to hear your baby. You haven't even held them yet, and you're already falling in love with them.
So for any of our listeners who might want to explore that world of home birth, water birth, and all those things, what are some of the requirements that you had to have or that you had to do in your pregnancy to make sure that you didn't have to divert to the hospital, that you could still have your birth at home?
Yeah, so you definitely want to, because you're going to have a home birth, they typically only take low risk women. So you want to make sure your blood pressure is in check. You want to make sure that you're exercising, like not doing anything extensive, doing something within your capability or your ability, just even if it's just a simple walk. But what you're going to do is just get with the midwife, do a consultation with them, ask them your questions, and then they will go ahead and check everything. They'll check your blood pressure, they'll sit with you and go over your history, if you had any pregnancy complications, and in that way they can get an idea of if you're a good candidate to have a home birth. So you do have to be low risk.
Right.
In no way do we want women to do a home birth, and that's not, for some women it's just not for them because of other complications. But what I love is that Danielle would walk me through, because I had high blood pressure issues. We would walk through my diet week by week and say, okay, what are you eating? Okay, what if we took this out?
Yes.
And then we would see the changes in my blood pressure.
Take that chocolate cake out.
Yes. So she'll be like, maybe you can do dark chocolate. Maybe instead of a chocolate bar, you can do like the little chocolate morsels. And that way you can just like grab 5 and
you can still get a little bit
that, that craving. So we definitely did a lot of that. And then just the exercise part, exercise does a lot for your body. It helps.
I love that she does that. It just really shows that she really cares about her patients.
Yep.
And as you said about the low risk and high risk, I know with my pregnancies, with my daughter, my oldest one, that she was a high risk because of my pregnancy before that, which I had given birth to twins. They were twin boys at 6 months on Christmas in 2014, and they were just born too early that we ended up losing them. So I know after that miscarriage and then having my daughter, the doctors had told me that my cervix was just too weak to be able to hold them, and that's why I lost them. So I remember during that time, they just told me that I would have a high risk and that I could give birth naturally, but and then I ended up going to the hospital. That's when they were like, nope, you're gonna do C-section. And then after that I had my daughter. Then I had the twin boys again. And what do you know? I'm a high risk pregnancy again because there was 2 of them and they shared a placenta. So that's why I was high risk. So I had my doctor, and then I also had my specialist that I saw every week alongside my doctor. So by the time I hit, I think it was 28 weeks, I was seeing my doctor and my specialist once every week because they were mono-di twins because they shared a placenta. And I believe it's in 10% of twin moms that their twins share placenta, that one twin will take all the nutrients than the other twin. And sometimes, in some cases, the other twin won't survive because of that. But luckily, George didn't take too much of Neela's food because George was baby A and he was always bigger than baby B. So, but we were able to give birth to them. We ended up having a C-section and they were healthy. Now they're crazy.
Are you planning on using Danielle for baby number 5?
I am planning. We are thinking of it. I have talked to my husband about it, and we are thinking of going because I would love to have a natural birth. That's all I've wanted. But every time my pregnancy was like, no, no, unless it was forced, like Anna, which but I wasn't ready. But now going into my last pregnancy, my last child, I would love to give birth naturally.
Mm-hmm.
So looking into Danielle and seeing if we're gonna do a home birth, because if you know me, I'm a hospital girly. I love to be in my hospital bed. You know, it feels like a let me
It's
know.
like a vacation.
Like, let me know if that's
when
you
you're in that
too.
hospital
Like,
bed.
it feels like it's a little getaway, and I get to
Mhm.
go, you know, and I'm like in a bed.
Pampered,
I'm not
waited up.
pampered or whatever.
Nah.
So, you know, it's just like I just love being.
Yeah.
It's just a different setting, and I think
Mhm.
that's why I love it so much. Because when I come home, I'm gonna be home for the next couple months with a newborn. So that's why I think if I could get out before I give birth,
I mean, you can always have us take care of your kids, or not us, but
I don't know. You guys say they're crazy, so
they are crazy.
They're not. It's nothing. It's they just have so much energy that I can't give. Okay, okay, especially those twin boys.
But if I can sacrifice like a week to watch them, I will.
But just piggybacking on what you said about
Mhm.
hospital girly, I mean that's me. I
That is you.
love that whole
Mhm.
experience of. But then it's
Love
the
it.
only experience I've ever had.
packing
So
your
I have.
hospital bag. It's
Mhm.
just so exciting.
It is.
If
I didn't
pack
have a
my
hospital bag,
just
but
to give birth in my home,
Mhm.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah, I mean, and you know, this does not take away from any other kind of
Yes.
pregnancies. I mean,
Mhm.
even though my sisters, like Sally, has had all unmedicated births,
Mhm.
and she's had delivered naturally all her kids, and
I'm just always ready to get out of that hospital. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
Sally's
I-
Sally's always her mentality is like,
I'm
don't
like,
keep me here.
Yeah, I'm like, let me out, because I know after I had with Maki with Samson, I stayed there for I think 2 days or 3 days. But with the rest, I was like, had the baby the next day, I'm out.
Oh,
Like,
Yeah.
get me out of here. I'm walking around and they're
Yes.
like, "Oh, you ready to go home?" I was like, "Yes, I want to go."
Sally's like, got a marathon at 3, gotta go. Okay, birth the baby at 2, gotta go at 3. That's just who she's always been.
And that is her for sure.
Right. And I mean, for me, with my oldest being I mean, that was a true emergency. And so with the emergency C-section, you know, they put me to sleep, knocked me out. And I think it took about a good week for that, whatever they gave me to wear off. Cause I was kind of loopy that entire week with me, I'm a pirate now. With me, other kids. I don't know. Well, okay. With my other kids, they were also C-section, but I did have a high risk pregnancy. All my
With all of them.
pregnancies, yeah, with all of them, had a high risk pregnancy, and so you know, high blood pressure.
Diabetes.
Yeah, thank you for throwing that in there. Gestational. So anyway,
Sure.
so with those babies, they did give me anesthesia for them because yeah, obviously I'm going under. You know, I'm getting surgery. So I mean, with that experience, I still love all my births, all the
I heard that they strap your hands down. Is that true?
No.
okay, so
Yes.
well, they don't strap it down, but they do put like a weighted blanket on each hand, or the nurse will, yes, the nurse will help you to hold them down. I actually am not sure why that's done.
I don't remember.
Maybe some women will like move, I guess.
I guess, and that was
I've just heard.
you just unlocked a memory because I forgot that they did
Yes.
that.
Mhm.
They hold your hands down and they keep you warm. I know with my last one, they had to keep waking me up because I kept falling asleep. So she'll
Oh yeah. Definitely gotta keep you awake for that. Please don't fall asleep.
yeah. So I mean, it's a lot. I mean, high risk pregnancies. You know, there's a lot of things that they have to watch out for and make sure that you're good. You're not sleeping. You're
Yes.
awake.
And that scares me. Having to go under like that for a C-section.
Yeah,
It's just.
it is.
I mean, the hospital scares me already. That's
yeah,
why.
it's definitely scary every single time that I went into having a C-section, just because the process and knowing what's going on to your body. But for
And
me,
being awake, huh?
yeah. But for me, I feel like C-section was like my fastest healing for me than
Wow.
naturally when I
Well,
birthed naturally.
you got to keep in mind you weren't ready to birth naturally
Yes.
with Anna.
So with
that
Anna-
did a lot
It did. It took about 4 months after giving birth to Anna for me to really fully heal. So
I'm
yeah.
traumatized just thinking
Oh,
about because
yes.
I remember.
I'm thinking, and I'm traumatized again. So
Let's move on from the trauma.
I think with the C-section, the recovery is the painful part. So
Yes,
having the
that's
baby,
right.
being in the hospital, that's not painful. But when you go home, you know, it hurts every time you laugh. If you have gas, it's going to hurt. But I mean, getting the staples removed, that also hurts.
Oh yes, I forgot about
I
that.
know. And then you get to keep a scar forever, like just as like a little souvenir of your time in the hospital. And
But I think I remember the last time I had the C-section scar with the twins, they didn't do staples at that time. It was something that would dissolve,
oh, see, I've
and it
always
would
had
just
staples.
yeah, I forgot what it was, but it would dissolve naturally on its own, so that we didn't have to pull out
I
staples.
mean, that's the thing about medicine. You know, we're always progressing,
Always evolving.
right? So that's good. That I hope that if you're getting a C-section now, you don't have to do the staples. Because let me tell you, they leave it in there for I think a month, and your skin grows over it.
I remember you showing me the staples. I think I
stop.
was I think that's also what pushed me to like never get
Sally's
a
like,
C-section.
ew, never.
No, it just looked like it hurt. It was painful. So
Sally took one look and was like, that scar, never.
So with having C-section, how was the recovery? You said that was your best recovery.
Yes, very fast. But then again, I probably shouldn't have been walking around and doing everything that I was doing, but I felt like I was just always on my feet after. And at that time, we stayed upstairs, so I'd be walking up and down the stairs. So it was just really fast for me.
Yeah, I think that the recovery time with the well, everybody's different.
Yes.
So Kim healed pretty quickly after that, and she was really mobile. And it's good to be mobile after your C-section. Actually,
Do they give you a binder for that?
they do.
Yes.
They kind of wrap your stomach to kind of hold it together. You kind of look like a science experiment, like what, Frankenstein? You're just kind of walking around, put back together like Humpty Dumpty. But yeah, take your healing seriously,
Yes,
guys.
that is very important. Whether it's a C-section or a natural birth, that's one thing I've learned is to really take that time to heal postpartum because your placenta has just left your body like you grew a whole organ.
That blows my mind. And I don't think that this gets enough attention as it deserves.
No.
You grow a whole organ.
So no wonder you have morning sickness and everything.
Yes.
Like your
And
body's working overtime.
you're growing body parts.
Wow. Yes. Wow.
Yeah, speaking of morning sickness, just wanted to tap into that real quick. So the morning sickness, did any of you, Anna or Sally, have morning sickness? How was your morning sickness?
Oh, okay. Let me go ahead and start first. Okay, because with my oldest, it was terrible. But then again, it's your first birth, and I think everybody's first pregnancy might be the same because your body is shocked
First
to
time,
all
yes.
the new things that are happening to it. So my first one was definitely horrible. And with your first pregnancy, you're so excited, so you're reading everything about it. And I remember my husband at one of our appointments, they have the magazines in the waiting room, and so I think that he came across a page that talked about folic acid and things like that, and just how important it is.
That is right.
And he would literally try to give me spinach or greens or anything with folic acid, anytime that I digested anything. He was so just adamant about take your folic acid. Did you take your prenatal vitamins? And it's so funny because my husband, he doesn't, when we were shopping for maternity clothes, he called it prenatal. So like, do you have your prenatal pants? Get your prenatal shirt. It's just first pregnancy things, just learning and discovering all those things together.
Thank you, Anna. For my morning sickness with Samson would have been the worst. Because yes, my oldest, it was my first pregnancy, and my goodness, I could not eat any meat at all.
Like the first trimester, or just
first,
for your morning
and then
sickness
kind of into second. Yeah. I could not do meat whatsoever.
Ooh.
Like even if it was like cooked so well, I could just still smell like as if it was raw.
Yes.
So I could not. Oh, and I slept. I completely forgot. My first trimester, as soon as I got home, I would be home at 5.
Sleeping.
I would sleep until the next
Day.
day
Mhm. Yeah.
for that whole first
Because
trimester.
your body's going through your
Yes.
body's going through something new.
Like I was shocked. I didn't even want to eat. I just went straight to bed, woke up, got ready for work, repeat for 12 weeks.
Wow.
Yes.
Yes, I would say with my morning sickness, my girls, they were both the same. It was pretty bad. I would say had a lot of felt like a fever and just always in bed, a lot of sleeping. With my oldest daughter, I would throw up, and then with my twins, I would say theirs is the worst. Both pregnancy. The twins, the morning sickness, it felt like you had the flu. If you had the flu, and you're stuck in bed and you cannot get out of bed, that was me. And my poor husband, I'm so thankful at that time that he was able to be there most of the time and be able to help with my two older girls so that I could just lay in bed from morning to sundown. I could not get up, only use the restroom if I need to, and then go right back to bed. So I think with that pregnancy alone, I had lost 20 pounds from the morning sickness.
And that's a great point you brought up about needing to lay down like the whole day, because if you're having a kid for the first time, enjoy that pregnancy. There's nothing like being pregnant for the first time,
Yes.
getting to be pampered,
And oh yes,
not having to deal with other children.
Yes.
Okay.
I remember when I had my first pregnancy, my mom would rub my stomach all the time. I mean, pampered. Okay, can we talk about getting pampered by your parents when you're their baby and you're having a baby for the first time? It's such an amazing experience.
I mean, I could just imagine when our kids
Can't
have
relate.
kids.
I wish I enjoyed it.
Well, our parents have, how many is there now?
Are there? There's 13.
13, about to be 14.
13
So,
kids in between us right
grandkids,
now.
yeah.
Yes. And my parents are just the best.
They are.
I mean,
they really
every
are.
single pregnancy, whatever we're craving, they will do their best to make it for us.
Yes.
Tongan food, which is usually what we're all craving when we're
yes.
pregnant. So they really come through for us. I mean, the entire pregnancy.
They really do. They're really awesome. And
Yes, I really loved. Sorry, Kim, I'm just gonna jump right.
that's okay.
on.
You just go ahead. Go right in, girl.
Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome.
I'll pass it right back to you.
That's okay.
So one thing I loved about this most recent birth is after I had Sienna and after everyone cleared out
That
of
is
the
right.
house, Mom made me the most delicious
remember.
steak
I saw it and I was
and
like,
mashed potatoes.
I was just there.
It was so. Man,
Try to be quiet
did you
so she
give birth
can
to a baby, or
so she can tell her story.
I didn't give birth, but I was part of the birth team.
Thank you for being part of my birth team. I was just so grateful for that meal that just healed my soul.
Especially, if you've had a baby, after you give birth, you are just so hungry.
Starving.
And that first meal,
Raging.
raging is right. That first meal that you get to eat, ooh,
The best. And I think it's so
The best.
important. Your first meal after you give birth is one of the most important meals.
Do you remember what your first meal was? I know that you had emergency. I don't know why I'm laughing.
I know my
Anna,
first meal.
I know that you had emergency section. Okay, Kim, what was your first meal?
My first meal, just because it was Chinese food because I was craving Chinese food.
Didn't you always eat Chinese food with
I
Aki?
surely did with Aki.
And you
So
still
let me
wanted
give you
that
a little.
postpartum?
I did. Let me give a little fun fact with my daughter. So with my daughter, all I craved was Chinese food, breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So with my daughter, I did gain 100 pounds from my pregnancy, and that was my biggest pregnancy. So, but yes, Chinese food. That's what I had right after I gave birth.
That's probably the reason for the high blood pressure.
I think so.
Okay, moving on. Sally, you asked me what was my first meal after my C-sections, and thank you so much for bringing up that memory because it was ice chips for a while. For
Because
those
of
of
the
you,
C-section.
for those of you who maybe had high risk pregnancies, you might understand. After I had the C-section, I couldn't eat maybe the whole entire day. I couldn't eat until the next day. So
That's where the raging comes from.
yeah, that's
Mhm.
probably why. That's
Yes.
exactly what it was. That's probably why I was starving.
Yeah.
It's not a universal thing. It was a me thing. Yes, but I think I just ate whatever everybody brought for me, and the hospital food probably. And it was just such a long time ago. And I'm the type of person that I just don't ask, and I just
Exactly. You're a background
accept
girly. Mhm.
whatever is going on. But I do remember one of my kids, Sally, pulled up after I had this baby. I don't know if it's my last one, and she pulled up with a Starbucks drink for me. And I'm not a Starbucks person. I'm not a Starbucks coffee. I gotta have it this way. I'm not that person. So this was a treat when Sally brought me some fancy coffee that morning. And you know what? It meant so much because I remember it right now so well.
Yes, because I don't remember that at all.
Sally was like, just on my regular daily pickup from
Just a
Starbucks.
regular day.
But that meant a lot to me because I felt like, wow, she thought about me and she stopped and got me some nice coffee this morning. That was really sweet of her. So yeah, thank you for that. Years later.
You're welcome. I thought I was a Grinch.
I don't know.
I think we talked about that in one of the other episodes.
We didn't say you weren't.
Kim, simmer
Kim,
down.
Yes,
It's okay, 'cause she's wearing
please.
the Grinch colors, so.
Do you remember that I did
I'm
get you something
I'm
too,
gonna rip
right?
your eyelashes right off.
Smoothie from Smoothie King.
No, I remember.
Oh, mhm.
I remember you getting me.
Mhm.
Sorry, it's not even pregnancy related, but I remember having COVID, and I remember you went and got my cravings. You made us a nice chicken soup.
You had
You brought
COVID.
me.
I'm so
You made me
lost.
chicken soup.
Oh, okay.
We're talking
And
about
you brought me my
pregnancies
yuca
and you're talking
candy
about
and my
COVID.
fruits. And I remember with coconut water, you packed a whole little meal.
Wow,
And
are you
dropped it
sure
off.
that was
You
me?
did, and I was really
See,
surprised.
I think the
So,
Grinch left, and then
I think so.
Anyway,
maybe I
back
have
to
an
the
alter ego
topic
that
of
did that for
discussion
you.
because I don't know where that came from. See, Kim likes to add little things here and there that have nothing to do with the discussion. Thank you, Kim.
You're welcome, Anna.
Okay, so just as you guys have discovered in this episode about Kim and the little baby that she's carrying,
So exciting.
do you have a preference on a boy or girl?
I am definitely hoping for a girl, and I feel like it's a girl. So I should be able to find out by January, the end of January, beginning of February, what the gender is by then.
So exciting. And we would definitely be praying for your pregnancy
Thank you,
and
Anna.
just praying for Kim's overall health and the baby's health
Yes.
because I know that you had complications with each pregnancy. So we
Yes,
are
just always something, huh?
so we're praying for you. We're praying for the baby.
Yes.
And girl or boy, we're gonna love that little bald baby because Kim, all her babies
Not
are bald.
the balls, baby.
All her babies are bald.
Kim, weren't you bald when you were born?
Well, I mean, it just had like a thula spot, but like there's hair.
Yeah. Some of them are still trying to grow hair right now as we speak. Okay. Kim has the bald babies. So whatever it is, we know it'll be bald and we know it's going to be so loved.
Thank you, Anna.
Okay, guys. So with that, I think that it's time for us to go ahead and close out because Sienna might be waking up soon.
That is right. That is right.
She's most likely ready to feed.
I'm
so.
sure she's calling you right now.
So we gotta go. We thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for listening, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, or Apple Podcast. We hope that you guys tune in for the next episode that we'll have here.
Yes, please.
Yes. So thank you so much for joining,
We hope y'all have a great week.
We appreciate you all.
and happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye.